The bill aims to prevent the arbitrary detention and release of foreign nationals. It also wants to ensure detained foreign nationals have a right to legal representation, appear in court within 48 hours, and it regularizes the detention to 30 days.
Ensures that any illegal foreigner detained under this section is brought before a court in person within 48 hours of arrest, allowing the court to determine whether further detention for deportation is in the interests of justice. It introduces this concept of the interests of justice as an objective criterion to guide both immigration officers and courts, thereby providing the Department of Home Affairs and other role players with a clear standard to meet and introducing greater predictability to the deportation process.
The minister will also introduce regulations on the process of deportation. This as the country prepares broader amendments to the immigration laws.
I also want to use this opportunity to call upon this House to ensure that the Border Management Authority, which has already registered important successes through its embrace of digital transformation, is urgently funded and capacitated so that it can implement its comprehensive modernization plan to build a secure digital border environment.
And currently the committee is processing one-stop border posts as an effort to complement the laws of this country. Pressured by the concerns of South Africans, the Department of Home Affairs under the ANC leadership has undertaken in the sixth administration a comprehensive review of White Paper on Citizenship, Immigration and the Protection of Refugee Act, which is delayed, the Minister, for the bill to be tabled limits this House to amend the existing legislation to respond the path this country should take in managing the broader migration landscape.
There was, however, mixed views on the proposed legislation, with the MK Party and Action SA rejecting the bill.
You preside over a department crippled by backlogs, broken IT systems and queues that stretch for miles. These failures are not minor hiccups. They are systemic. They are the very reason thousands of people become undocumented.
It is costing South Africa 427 rand per day to detain an illegal foreigner, and so it is important to prevent endless appeals and litigation that only delays deportations. The bill also restores proper judicial oversight.
Our actions must at all times be guided by the Constitution of the Republic and not by the xenophobic chants of fringe groups such as Dudula. Immigrants, whether legal or illegal, have a right to appear before a court of law and a right to be represented by a lawyer before the courts.
But we must also acknowledge that many illegal migrants lack verifiable addresses or means to be traced or returned to court. This too carries a danger. And Minister, I heard you that we will now be able to execute legally compliant deportations, but this should not be needed in the first place. It is time for migrants to enter South Africa with proper documentation.
Our communities, especially in townships and informal settlements, bear the brunt of overcrowded clinics, overburdened school, and rising lawlessness. South Africans deserve a government that puts their safety, livelihoods, and dignity first.
The media reported that the Department of Home Affairs spent 180 million rand over the past 3 financial years on the deportation of illegal foreigners. During this period, over 130,000 individuals were deported.
If government adds more court appearances and procedural layers without building enforcement muscle, deportations will be slow, our courts will choke, and communities will be left exposed. Action SA will not support paper rights that weaken real security.
The South African Human Rights Commission warned that the justice system may lack the infrastructure to uphold these timelines, risking further rights violations. The ACDB calls for independent oversight of detention centers.
The worst mistake we can make as members of this House is to bury our heads in the sand, to pretend not to hear, not to see, not to feel the frustrations of ordinary South Africans. These frustrations are real. They are expressed in communities where irregular immigration is visible, where laws are openly flouted, and where South Africans feel abandoned by the state. It is precisely when government does not enforce its own laws that movements like Operation Dudula gain momentum.
We should all be quick to say what's the needs of South Africans about healthcare, about jobs, and how we can capacitate the state to deliver on that. We can't blame the state failure on that on immigrants. It must pain all of us when people are turned away like pregnant women at hospitals just because they don't possess a South African passport.
The bill will now be sent to the National Council of Provinces for concurrence. Ulelani Philip, SABC News, Parliament.